I mean, brings up an interesting question that we think about a lot here is just this sort of trend toward commodified compassion, if you will, where people are purchasing something to do good, and whether it's Tom's shoes or To Write Love on Her Arm stuff or Project 7 gum or t-shirts. So how do you how do you feel about sort of mixing that consumerism with compassion, and do you think does that taint your message or change the message?
I think that you're always going to have a certain percentage of those customers that are maybe only doing it because it's trendy. They buy a pair of Tom's shoes because they're cute, or I've heard that's a neat story. But at the end of the day, there was somebody that got a pair of shoes out of that that wouldn't have got one.
An end justifies the means.
I mean,
that sense.
Yeah, as long as for us, the same way about what we do with gum and mints, you could make a case to say, don't buy any gum or mints at all. Give that up and use that money to go towards a charity that you care about. But that's living in a vacuum. That's not reality in that sense. We just retool the message, and we're able to reach out to people that maybe are outside of the church or inside the church, or wherever, but they're in a coffee shop, at a bookstore, at a Walmart, and there's this call to action that's on the shelf that they have to deal with. So it says feed the hungry, and they may not buy that product right then, but our hope is that when we've kind of planted an Easter egg on their path, so they go outside the door and they see someone panhandling, asking for help. Maybe it helps make them think twice about kind of their thoughts on that. Same thing with house the homeless. We put those messages out there. So for us, the ends do justify the means, I think. We know that there's some customers that would take on our brands and sell them in their stores just to kind of greenwash their store. But again, we know that there's people getting helped out at the end. So as long as we stay true in that, it doesn't matter if the other people are doing it for the right or wrong reasons, to me.
So how do you keep, if in the end a good thing is happening, how do you sort of keep connected with the people who are purchasing your brand, or how do you sort of keep them connected to this good thing that's happening in the end beyond just buying gum?
We do, we kind of have a thought process of in college, 100 level classes, 200 level classes. So in the sense, someone who just buys our products, that either they were going to a business meeting and they were at a Caribou Coffee and they needed a pack of gum and it was there, and they happened to pull it out of their brief later on and see it. They may or may not engage with the brand. Okay, great, I helped someone out. But as we begin, that's kind of the gateway, as we begin to get them familiar with our cause. The tuner level is we'll connect them to volunteer locally in their community. So to take that step of just not just buying something, but then taking it into action. So we do a thing called 7-Day, and we've kind of activated that more this year and done tours around it. And it's a way to take someone who goes, great, I like your products, I like supporting it, but what's the next step for me if I want to help out on another level? So try to connect them with a nonprofit that we work with, or connect them with a group of people in their community that they can kind of get out and start volunteering right there in their backyard and see these things right in their midst, instead of just thinking about them in a material way of buying products. But we're constantly, you're trying to figure that out. It's not, we don't, there's things you're learning about it all the time. And people that go, wow, you should be doing this. And there's no doubt there's a lot to figure out, but that's so far kind of where we've gotten so far.
Now, in the past, you've had people kind of vote on the charities the nonprofits that you would donate money to, and now it seems like you're not doing that anymore. You've chosen nonprofits that you have relationships with. What sort of motivated that decision, and how do you choose which nonprofits to support?
We, it was really fun doing the vote, and it was neat meeting all those different nonprofits. But after we did it and we awarded the first funds, we kind of sat down with them on a one-on-one basis and people and said, so how did that work for you? What did you think? Because, again, our goal is to help them out, to kind of be a conduit. And it was interesting. Things that we never would have thought of kind of came up. And one of those was, we don't really like competing against our friends.
Okay.
So you saw like one group that was a friend with another group, and they both were doing things similar. And they're like, vote for me.
Yeah,
and
right.
And saying, vote for me. And so we even had some nonprofits. It was pretty amazing that we found out after the fact that had an agreement with each other. If I win, we'll split it.
Huh.
If you win, we'll split it. So we were like, well, that doesn't work. And then the second thing is that coincidentally, right when we launched it, American Express came out with a big voting campaign for charities. Pepsi came out with their Fresh Project.
Yes, that's true. There were a lot of voting for charities.
Chase came out with their big deal that I think to Write Love on Our Arms won.
Yeah.
And so the other thing was we saw voting fatigue.
Yeah.
So we said, and then it was once a year. So you had to wait, for a whole year. So what we did is we just said, okay, we're going to keep, the giving message in, but we're going to make real-time giving. So now our products like Feed the Hungry, when you buy them, they do something right then. So it's communicated on the package. So like every tray of gum, which is 12 packs of gum, because you're talking about small little purchases, provides 7 meals back into American communities.
Okay.
Heal the Sick mints provide malaria medicine for a family for a whole week. So every one of them, there's
more kind of concrete connection.
And what's neat about that is quarterly you get to reconcile those numbers and then tell the community about it.
Right.
You can also go to like a Walmart and go, hey, I don't know if your PR department's interested in this, but you guys should know that this is more than just a P&L thing for you to make money off of. Through the sales of product and our partnership with you, you provided 250,000 meals this quarter. And so getting them to think about it, that one helped us maybe materialize the give back a little bit more than just this number out there that gets awarded once a year.
That makes sense.
So we vet though nonprofits in those spaces and go through and we still take applications from people that are like, hey, we want to be a hunger partner or we want to be a malaria partner. But we kind of just, once we find a partner, we just try to keep funding them on an ongoing basis. So one thing that's really cool about the Walmart thing, and one of our partners that we found is, we found a really neat group in LA that is called Children's Hunger Fund. And what they do is they provide a family of 4 groceries for 2 weeks. Different than a food bank that might get donated older items or different things like that. There'll be perishable and non-perishable items in there. So there'll be like ground beef, vegetables, but then also pastas and dry goods. Yeah. And so it's a more holistic program. So the neat thing about the Walmart partnership is literally we've gone out, we went to Children's Hunger Fund and said, if we gave you $15,000 at a time or whatever, could you buy groceries more effectively in larger quantities? And they're like, yeah, we could reduce our overhead, our costs, we could buy more meals. So we've done that with them, and what'll happen is the products that you buy, the Feed the Hungry products that you buy at Walmart in Southern California in this rollout will go right back into providing meals for families in Southern California.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's the neat thing versus that you can touch and feel that.
Right.
So.